Welcome to Meldon Law. I'm Jeffrey Meldon, founder of Meldon Law. I'm here to welcome you to a great show. We have some really exciting guests today. Before we get to that, I want to tell you what's coming up. This weekend is the Alzheimer's Walk, and my wife Patricia and I are co-chairs for that, and it is going to be amazing. 9 o'clock out at the Trinity Methodist Church in Gainesville, 4000 Northwest 39th Avenue. Trinity Methodist Church, 4000 Northwest 39th Avenue. And it's going to be a really exciting event. Patricia and I, we care for her 89, almost 90-year-old mother, who is certainly feeling some of the effects of dementia and Alzheimer's. So it's really an event that strikes close to home for us. It's amazing how many people in the community are affected by either Alzheimer's or dementia. Not only those people that have it, but the family members that have to help support them and deal with it. And it's a very, very worthy cause. And the great thing is they're coming up with some cures, with some medication. If they don't cure Alzheimer's or dementia, they're going to at least help minimize the effects of the disease. Very, very important event. So we ask for everybody to get involved. Form a team. Bring out a couple friends and show up. We're really excited. We expect close to 1,000 people out there, and it's going to be a blast. We're going to have so much fun. Bring the kids. It's a family-friendly event, so let's do it and have a really great time and support an extremely worthy cause. Next, we have the Tom Petty Weekend coming up. Meldon Law is sponsoring the Tom Petty Weekend at the Heartwood Soundstage at 500 South Main Street in Gainesville, Florida. Some of you may know I was Tom Petty's first attorney, and we love his music and enjoy supporting a great community event. The event starts Thursday night at 7 o'clock. It's free to everybody who registers at tompettyweekend.com. tompettyweekend.com. Go there and you can get your free ticket. Meldon Law is helping to support the event because Gainesville is Tom Petty's hometown. Born and raised here in Gainesville, and we're very, very excited to have this event. It is going to be a great show. So there's music and storytelling by friends of Tom's who are going to tell us some terrific stories. This event is blowing up. Tom Petty Nation is behind it. The Tom Petty family is supporting us in every way possible. And you can buy some Tom Petty shirts. We're hoping to get some Tom Petty Gator shirts out there. Those were a hot event last week at the LSU game, and I know a lot of our listeners and fans want to find out what's going on at the Tom Petty Festival. Great volleyball is going on at the University of Florida. Terrific team. We're playing Georgia on the 19th, and Meldon Law is giving away a 4-pack of tickets with a $50 gift certificate to Harry's Bar and Grill, as well as a 2-pack of tickets with a $25 gift card to Harry's Bar and Grill. We also have a volleyball promotion coming up with Arkansas. That is on October 29th and October 30th. So check us out. Another 4-pack of tickets, $50 gift card, and 2-pack plus 25. So go to Meldon Law Facebook page, Meldon Law's Facebook page, and that's where all the ticket giveaways are. So all you have to do is check us out at the Meldon Law Facebook page. I'm seeing here we got more tickets for the Missouri game coming up as well. So volleyball is a hot sport in the fall. Um, those of you that are a little disappointed at Gator football, check out volleyball. You'll see a top-notch winner, and it's going to be great. Speaking of Gator football, Florida, Georgia is coming up, and for those of you that want to have an exciting weekend over in Jacksonville, it's an event worth going to. Even though the Gators are huge underdogs, you never know. There's a chance we're going to win that game, and if we do, it would rock the college sports world because Georgia's ranked number one in the country, and they are going to be a tough opponent. However, we're going to be giving away 2 seats for the Georgia-Florida game plus a $100 gift certificate to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. What a nice way to spend the weekend. It's going to be a very, very exciting tailgate. We always win the tailgate. I don't know about the game this year. However, we will see. Anyhow, it's time to welcome our first guest to Meldon Law Friends. Before we do, again, go visit Meldon Law Facebook page, and you will find some incredible giveaways and other information about what's going around in north central Florida. We got lots of stuff. We're supporting in Ocala. We're supporting him in Lake City, Gainesville, all over. We have our first guest. Let me put on my headset and welcome Justis Mendez.
How you doing, Jeffrey? Thanks for having me on.
Justis, are you there?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah. So tell me how you're doing.
Doing good. Yeah. Sorry, I couldn't make it in person. I'm actually flying to San Francisco for a conference. I have a layover right now in Las Vegas. So spent the night in Vegas and flying shortly after this to San Francisco.
Well, I hope they didn't take all your money in Vegas.
No, I try and stay away from gambling.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. Hey, listen, I'm reading your bio, and it says you were born in Cleveland. How long did you live in Cleveland?
Yes, sir. A majority of my life, actually. So came to Gainesville in 2019 and then stayed since. But yeah, why do you have ties in Cleveland?
Yeah, I graduated from Shaker Heights High School.
No way. That's
Yeah.
crazy. Are you familiar with the West Side? I went to John Marshall, so that's where I graduated from.
Oh, great. Yeah. Now, I
So
know
West
John
Sider.
Marshall. Yeah. Now, John, are you talking about John Marshall High School, college,
Yes,
law school?
high school.
Yeah,
High
because
school.
they have a John Marshall Law School there as well. Um, anyhow, so yeah. Well, as an East Side guy, we mostly stayed on the East Side. For those of you
Yeah.
that don't know, to get from one side of Cleveland to the other side can take you like going from Gainesville to Orlando. I mean, it's literally an hour if you're on the far west side, right?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Takes a little long, for sure.
Yeah. So, what brought you to Gainesville, Florida?
Yeah, so UF as well as a lot of other opportunities. So as you know, Cleveland's a very rough place. So growing up, kind of got into some trouble here and there and wanted to have a better lifestyle and knew that I could accomplish a lot more. So I met some guys that were alumni from UF, started a business, and they invited me out here, and the rest is history.
When
So
you
yeah,
say invited you out here, where is that?
so they were living on Archer Road, and they had a car lot, and I ended up living in their walk-in closet for the first 8 months of my stay in Gainesville, working for them completely free. If there was some room on the couch, I would always try and squeeze in on the couch, but I slept, yeah, pretty rough on the floor of their walk-in closet.
Was it a big walk-in closet?
It was a pretty nice house. It's probably one of the nicest houses I've ever been in. So it definitely wasn't too rough, but it was a nice walk-in closet with carpet.
With carpet. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
So it was an upgrade from Cleveland.
so 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 tell me a little bit about your business. I understand you taught yourself finance, and then you've got this firm called 161 Ventures. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, so I ended up launching half of it, it's a hybrid, half of it is an accelerator. So we teach companies how to scale their business. Also, we help them get funded, help them raise capital, help them go through a 10-week program where they learn everything from, incorporating their business, learning about pricing models, learn about how to hire, how to fire, build company culture, get your first customers. And then as we started to build this out, we realized that we were missing out on deals. We were introducing all of these companies to all of these VCs, and they're investing millions of dollars into these startups, and we wanted to be able to support some of these startups as well. So that's when we went out and raised our own venture capital fund. So yeah, so far we've had 5 cohorts. We also do a program at UF with Warrington called the UF Startup Launch Competition. Um, but our virtual program, we've had 5 cohorts. We've had 45 companies. We've helped them raise 13 million. We've helped them generate over 9 million in revenue. And one of the companies even got acquired. And that's since about mid 2020. So in about 2.5 years, that's kind of where so far where we've been.
That's pretty amazing because mid 2020 was when COVID
The
got started.
pandemic.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
how did
Yes.
you navigate those waters?
That was a tough one. So at first, what ended up happening was we met a professor, my business partner, Pablo, which I'll go into more about me and his story. But so his professor was named Martin Schaffel, one of the most influential mentors I've ever had in my life. And he had a huge exit, 9-figure exit, 100% equity owner. But he used to throw these events back in Tampa called Empty Bottle Club, and he's just to get together entrepreneurs, like-minded individuals who want to kind of build a community and get together once a month. We started doing that in Gainesville, and it grew to be very popular. Then we said, okay, how can we further support entrepreneurs, tech startups, people who want to start businesses? So we started doing workshops, roundtable events, and then COVID happened. And everything we were doing was around an in-person event, an in-person communities. So yeah, we really didn't know what to do at first. We started a podcast, and after about 2 weeks of that, we realized that we didn't have the same kind of impact because everything we were doing was kind of, we're bringing in speakers and we needed to be hands-on with these startups. So we just literally launched a virtual accelerator. Once a week, we have a different speaker from all over the country. They teach the whole entire cohort, and then we also do weekly check-ins. So it was super hard, but the timing was perfect because all
Well,
these other programs. Sorry.
I was going to say, I want to delve into this. We're coming up against a commercial break for 60 seconds. So when we come back, we're going to hear Justis Mendez talk about the accelerator and everything else that he's doing. And we'll be back in 60 seconds on Meldon Law and Friends.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe this. Look what you have done to my truck.
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault.
it's not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky.
Well, I was in a truck accident. Because of the accident, I've resulted in 3 back surgeries. We saw advertisements on TV, and guess who popped up more often than not? It was Jeffrey. The communication that he provided was so appreciative. He shows his compassion as a human. He assisted us in achieving one of our dreams, the acquisition of a home, and we're here today with smiles on our face with the assistance from Jeffrey.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm here with Justis Mendez, and Justice is telling us all about how to help grow a business and create startups. And we were talking about accelerators as well. This isn't a car accelerator. This is a business accelerator, right?
Exactly.
But it's the same. It's got the same purpose. It like makes the whole thing go faster.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
why don't
that's the
we?
goal.
Why don't we talk about what you're doing to help people grow? Well, what would if somebody's interested in bringing you on to help coach them up? How would they contact you, and then what would be the follow up?
Yeah, so we have a portal on our website, 161.ventures. And then also I'm on all social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, with my first and last name. And then you could probably look up 161 Ventures and just Google it, find us anywhere. But we have
Did you know that there's a famous building in Gainesville based on 161?
exactly. So the Cade Museum.
It's the
Correct.
Fibonacci. It's a Fibonacci ratio of 1.161. Tell our listeners some of the examples of how 161 replicates itself in nature.
Yes, so I mean, in the human face, in seashells and pine cones, Leonardo da Vinci uses it in all of his works, The Last Supper, The Vitruvian Man. So what scientists and naturalists say is that they say it's the most organic and efficient path for growth. This equation. So that's why we actually embodied this name for our accelerator and our venture fund, because we realize that no matter what, just like with anything in life, too much, too fast is bad, and not enough too soon is also bad. So what we want to do is we want to help them grow in an organic way. If you had 10 million people call you right now for law services, it'd be really hard to scale that. But if you only have one person calling you, that's also not a business that you want to be in. So we're trying to help them find that optimal growth. We can kind of help them scale the business in an organic way.
And what are some of the techniques that you're able to use to help people learn what the sweet spot is and how to scale?
Yeah, so I think one of the biggest things, and this goes for all entrepreneurs, whether they want to be in tech or just even start a local business, is that I would say a lot of people, they come up with an idea, but they're not trying to solve a problem. And everything should be focused around the hypothesis on your solution for a problem. So, you always need a North Star, and your North Star is, how do I solve this problem? And then from there, I would also say that a lot of people start to come up with their own ideas and concepts and forget to build with your customers. So, like let's say I want to build an app. I'm going to come up with all the ideas on how I should build the app, instead of first coming up with a prototype, bringing it to the customers, getting feedback, and then start iterating and building based on their feedback and what they want. People start to build what they want and forget that you're building something for somebody else. So you should always be building, what people will pay for, what people want. And listening to your customers is one of the most effective ways to build a great business. But a lot of people only want to listen to themselves. Unfortunately, we're not all Steve Jobs. They can kind of, come up with this crazy vision and just to give it to people. We need to listen to our customers. And that's one thing that we always make sure that we tell founders.
I'm sure that Steve Jobs tested, the iPhone and everything else that he was involved in within
Correct.
his company and got outside consumer feedback.
Right. Absolutely. Their first version was more for the hobbyist, right? It was somebody who had to get other computer parts and then put it together. And, the guy that ended up buying their first purchase order, he was like, I want something that somebody could just pick up off the shelf and just take it home. So the same exact thing, that was his customer, the retailer who was purchasing it from him. And I think that's one of the most important things is you have to listen to the customer. You have to listen to the people that are giving you the money.
What are some of the key things that you do to get people focused on solutions?
So I would say a lot of people will come up with a business plan. What we always do is when we first start off, we have them, and this is the program at UF. What we have them do is we have them build something called a lean business model canvas. So you don't want to create, spend the next 3 months coming up with some business plan. You want these interchangeable ideas that you can always be able to pivot on very quickly. It's understanding, how is your distribution channel, right? How are you going to get this product out to market? Are you going to have to run social media ads? Is there somebody who, you can bring the product to and they have 1,000 customers lined up for you? There's a lot of different tips and tricks. And one thing that we're really good at also is we bring in a lot of expert speakers. So throughout our accelerator, we've brought in the former CEO of Priceline. We've brought in the chief ethics officer of Airbnb, the VP of growth at Spotify, the founders of Whatnot, which I think now they're at $2.5 billion market cap. But so we bring in a lot of these really high class speakers that also help them think of it in a different light. Hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah. Now
kind of
you
got
also,
sidetracked.
yeah. So, Justice, you also mentioned the fact that you help raise money for venture capitalists. Why don't we talk a little bit about that? Tell us what's the process and how do you get a business set up in a way, meaning set up, creating key performance indicators, standard operating procedures, and everything else that a venture capitalist is going to be looking for, as well as a track record. How do you help get businesses to become a business that would be interesting to a venture capitalist?
Absolutely. So yeah, throughout the 10-week program, we're going through all of these things, making sure they understand their KPIs, their metrics, understanding how they can start to de-risk the business. Are there certain key partners that they might need? Let's say I need to get a car manufacturer to be a key partner for me to be able to de-risk this operation. So we help them go through everything on the 10 weeks. And then at the end of the 10 weeks, we have a demo day where we'll have maybe 40 to 50 different either angel investors or other venture capitalists that will hop on the call. And then they could pitch their business to all these VCs. And, some of them will get funded, some of them won't. But I think that the most important part is just getting in front of people and getting that initial conversation going, because they might realize something that they need to pivot, they need to change. And every VC is different. Some people will invest pre-product, pre-revenue. We don't. We would like to invest in a company that we're just kind of putting fuel on the fire. They already have a product in market. They have a lot of interest. They're growing very rapidly. There's a very big market that they could, attack and start to take a lot of market share. But some people, angel investors, they might just want to put in a small check. Some VCs, they want to do pre-product stuff. They want to do pre-revenue stuff. So I'd say everybody's different. It's just kind of figuring, and that's one thing that we do with founders also. We help them go through this process. Sorry. Somebody's calling me. Apologize. Yeah, so we help them go through this process on understanding, okay, I need to find somebody who not only invests in my sector, right, but will also invest at my stage. If I'm building a healthcare company, health tech, and I go out to somebody who invests in food tech, it's not going to make sense. But let's say I find somebody who invests in health tech, but they don't invest unless you have 50 million in revenue and they write nothing less than a $3 million check. Then it's still not going to make sense. So you have to find somebody that's in that sweet spot of sector and also the same stage.
What are some of the advantages of working with venture capital versus growing your business organically?
Yeah, so I would say that it's very hard. Okay, this is the craziest part is think about Uber, Airbnb. There's some businesses where the unit economics just is not going to be profitable. So as a founder, you need to take on venture funding. because if not, you're every transaction that you have is negative. So I launched a parking app, and after each hour that I booked, I basically lost 10 cents. So if I want to scale this business and, I have millions of transactions a day, I'm going to need to be able to fund these losses. Until then, I could turn a profit or be able to scale the business somehow where I could, or even sell it. Some people never make money. I'm pretty sure WhatsApp didn't really make money. They ended up just getting acquired by Facebook. So there's a lot of businesses that you need to have venture capital. Also, I would say one of the biggest advantages from like a macro level is that people don't realize this. And I might be butchering the report a little bit. I read it like 2 years ago, but 4% of all companies in the United States get venture funding. 50% of the country's economic output, our GDP, are by venture-backed companies. So if you can see the input-output, 4% of companies are getting VC funding, but 50% of our country's economic output is from venture-backed companies. So, I have a big passion for helping people, and I'm flying to Cleveland after San Francisco to go speak at a conference. And it's all about kind of how can we build a tech community in Cleveland? Because as you know, it's kind of rough. It's a big manufacturing hub, big steel city. All these jobs left to China or, got outsourced. So now they're trying to figure out how can we bring up our economy? And it's through venture capital and building this innovation ecosystem. And Gainesville does a great job at that, as you know.
What can you tell us quickly about this parking app? How does it work?
Yeah, so I actually disbanded it because it, wanted to do something else. So basically, it was like Airbnb for your driveway. That was the concept.
Oh.
Is that there's not enough on-street parking spots, and we wanted to be able to offload some of the on-street spots with driveways. So basically, you could rent out your driveway, just like game day, but all year round.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's crazy. Supply and demand, right? You know, absolutely. Yeah, like Gainesville. There's even still in Midtown and in downtown, there's not enough parking, but there is, a house or two a block away that you can go park your car in. Absolutely. Awesome. So our website is 161 spelled out .ventures. And then I am on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter under Justis Mendez, JUSTISMENDEZ. And then my partner is Pablo Casalimas. He's also on social media with the same name. So yeah, we're easy to find. Just Google us or look us up on Instagram or LinkedIn.
Oh my gosh! I can't even believe this! Look what you have done to my truck!
Excuse me, it's your fault, it's not my fault.
Yes, it is your
No,
fault!
it's not, no,
I
it's
am
not.
calling Jeffrey Meldon from Meldon Law.
So I'm gonna call Jeffrey, my husband.
Meldon Law, this is Jeffrey speaking.
This crazy lady here, this crazy lady, he might...
New client?
Yes, but this one might be a little tricky. When you're a member of the Gator Nation, you know what it means to never back down. Meldon Law has been a proud supporter of the Gator Nation since 1971. Two forces that won't back down. As the old saying goes, if you can't beat 'em, join 'em. We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, We haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you.
We are here at the University of Florida, where Albert and Alberta are competing in the Gator penalty shootout. Albert is ready to stop the shot at all costs. What a disaster! Luckily, Meldon Law is the only official law firm partner of the Florida Gators. If you have suffered any injury, do not worry, because Meldon Law is going to help you with your recovery. Meldon Law doesn't back down until they reach their goal.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran a red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon, because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
We still hear it. The sound of victory. The joy of being part of something great. And while things may not be the same right now, we haven't gone anywhere. If you bleed orange and blue, then Meldon Law is the firm for you. October 22nd. It's going to be a great event. It's out there at the Trinity Methodist Church, 4000 Northwest 39th Avenue in Gainesville, Florida. Just show up, or you can go on the Alzheimer's Walk Gainesville platform and form a team and help fight Alzheimer's, dementia. We're making some really important strides right now. This year, the FDA is looking at drugs to help minimize the effects of Alzheimer's and dementia. So hope is there, and help is on the way. Very, very important, because just about everybody is affected in one way or another by a loved one or good friend who's afflicted with Alzheimer's or suffering from dementia. So my wife Patricia and I are co-chair this year. We're very involved. We also live with Patricia's mom, who is almost 90 years old now, and she does pretty well, but she still has a lot of challenges with dementia. So we know what it's like, and we want to support this very important organization. On a lighter note, we've got the Tom Petty Festival coming up October 20th through the 22nd. Yes, that's 3 days, and it's free. Meldon Law is the prime sponsor for the Tom Petty Festival. As some of you know, I am the original first attorney for Tom Petty, and I have some interesting stories we'll share one day about my experience with Tom and Mudcrutch. Very, very dynamic individual who was hyper-focused at a very young age at succeeding in the music business, and he sure did that. We've also, Meldon Law Facebook page is giving away a bunch of tickets, both for volleyball, and we are winners in volleyball. Football, not so much. However, things are going to change. And what I would like to tell you is we will be giving away football tickets for the Florida-Georgia game coming up. And win or lose, that's always a great event. And we always have a terrific turnout for our tailgate. It's a wonderful, if you haven't been to a Florida-Georgia game, go. I'm telling you, you will be absolutely surprised and elated at the kind of atmosphere. It's really a 2 or 3 day event. It starts on Friday. I think it goes till Sunday morning at least. So go check it out. Florida, Georgia, coming up October 29th in Jacksonville. So let's have a good time and see if you want to get tickets, just go to Meldon Law and Facebook page and you'll check them out. I'm here with our second guest today, Darin Cook, who is an entrepreneur in Gainesville and built a very, very successful company that employed a lot of very talented folks in Gainesville, Florida, and is once again doing it again. Darin, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me.
So let's do a little history first, okay?
Oh, wonderful.
Back in 1994, you started a little company. Tell me a little bit about the origins of Infinite Energy.
Well, certainly. I somehow got into the natural gas trading business by being a buyer for GRU and another organization called Florida Gas Utility. And I was with my business partner, Rich Blazer, at GRU. And we actually did quite well for them. We were making a lot of money for GRU. And, being a government organization, you just don't get the raises that match what you were doing.
You're doing some really, really good stuff that's making a lot of money,
right?
And you're not seeing any of it.
No. Well, 1% raise. So I saw a tiny amount, but and they said they did a really good job, which is nice. But Rich and I were on a business trip, and we came up with the idea, man, we might be able to do this ourselves. So as soon as we got back, we started writing a business plan, and 2 years later, we found a backer. And then we were off to the races, so to speak, in 1994. We started our company with this backer, and we were profitable within 3 months. But it was just two of us in a temp help over on the Vidal building next to the Gainesville, club over there,
so,
downtown.
I knew Pierre Vidal, who started that. It was a pharmacy. And when I moved here in 1970, and that was a pretty famous place. The University Club used to be called Harmonica Joe's in the late 70s.
Interesting.
My friend Ron DiFilippo, who started the Swamp Restaurant, before the Swamp Restaurant did a bar right there. Anyhow, so you start there in this historic building.
Yes,
right?
One of the oldest in Gainesville.
Were you on the second floor?
We were on the second floor, and one of the things we had to get was when we said, we'll sign a lease, but you got to put air conditioning in there, because they had no air conditioning.
I know, and the bail bondsman, Truman Roundtree, used to be upstairs in that building when I started practicing law.
Interesting.
So I know that building.
Well, fortunately, we never needed his services.
So here you got a couple young entrepreneurial-minded folks that say, let's start a business. You put together a business plan, and you find a venture capitalist who's willing to invest with you, right?
It wasn't a venture capitalist. It was someone in the industry. They owned what they call a small pipeline system that connected other pipes, and they didn't know anyone in Florida. And they said, you guys know everyone in Florida, so we need to market our natural gas there, so help us. And so we did a joint venture with them. So we were and Rich was, he was the one that found them. So it was like, he is, as we talked about earlier, so extroverted, such a good guy that you're going to get in the door with Rich. I would have never gotten in the door. That's why it took the two of us to start. It's like we were a really good team.
So Darin's talking about Rich Blazer,
Yep.
who was his partner in the business, and Rich is a terrific business person, extrovert, and really, if you meet him, you gotta love him. He's really a lot of fun. However, the two of you put together a business that grew and grew and grew. Talk about the growth period a little bit.
Certainly. When we decided to go into the retail side of things, we were doing wholesale natural gas.
Now, explain retail and wholesale to our listeners.
Okay, certainly. Wholesale we're selling to folks like Florida Power and Light or GRU or, big companies that use a lot of natural gas. Retail is I'm selling to a restaurant like this one, or I'm selling to a person like yourself. So it's a whole different, you got to bill them, you got to get, all sorts of bad debt comes along sometimes. You've got a whole bunch of different departments, so you need a lot bigger workforce. And that's what happened. We went into retail. We developed we had a computer programmer that helped us build a billing system that gave us an edge in the market for apartment complexes up in Georgia. No one else could do what we were doing in that area, and that edge got us a bunch of customers all at once. Yeah, we started out with 3,000. We said, okay, we can do that by hand, but we're going to suffer. And we did it, but then we built the billing system around it with what the apartments wanted. And all of a sudden, once we were ready, we said, we're going to market this. And next thing you know, we had 40,000 customers.
Wow. Now, were you talking about natural gas? Or
natural gas, yes.
So you're in the natural gas business.
Yep.
Okay. How do you service 3,000 or 40,000 apartments, no matter what? How do you get the gas? Do they have to be already, wired, not wired, but plumbed for
Yes,
gas?
yeah. So basically we use the utility, was still in the business of the, what they call the pipes business, where the pipe goes. So we had to subcontract them to turn people on and turn people off when they didn't pay or when they moved or whatever. So we had a whole system for that through computer.
But that was a separate company that would actually do the hard plumbing.
That's correct.
Okay, and then your business. Now, did you have big lines coming into an apartment complex and then have it distributed?
That once again, we didn't own any of the pipes. What we were good at is getting gas from point A to point B through the pipes. So if you think the pipelines are like trucks, we paid a fee to transport on those trucks or the pipelines to get it from one place. Like we could take gas all the way from Canada to Georgia if we wanted to, by buying transport, depending on where the best prices were. And that's what we were really expert, was the logistics of the big pipeline system. And that gave us an edge in the retail system because none of our retail competitors could do that. They were just purely retail.
Okay. Well, it's very interesting. I have a little bit of background in the natural gas business.
Oh, really?
Because my father was a home builder starting in the 1950s, and all the homes we built were natural gas homes.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And we did it because it was less expensive than electricity, right?
Yes, and it mostly still is, especially here in Gainesville.
Well, that's great. That's great.
True.
Hey, we're going to take a 1-minute break here. We're just getting going here with Darin Cook, founder of Infinite Energy. We got some exciting stuff to talk about when we come back. We'll be back to talk with you more in 60 seconds. Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Being a client of Meldon Law was special because I felt like I was really being listened to and I felt welcome by the entire staff. If I were in a situation where I needed legal advice and help, I would absolutely reach out to Jeffrey because his reputation alone speaks for itself. But on a personal level, I know that he would take care of me and help me solve those problems, and I would feel safe with him.
Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. I'm here with our good friend Darin Cook, who's going to be educating us and talking a little bit about some of the advantages of natural gas. You're all of a sudden you're in Georgia. You went from 3,000 apartments to 40,000 apartments
Within I think that was within a 6-month period.
Wow,
That was amazing.
So how did you finance the growth?
Actually, we didn't really need to on that because once again, we didn't have to buy the pipes; they're already there. All we had to do was buy the natural gas, and we had at that time, I think we had either Shell or Dominion as big companies backing us for the natural gas side of things. So we could get as much natural gas as we wanted.
So you had built a relationship with them.
Yep.
They had a ton of natural gas. And they said, okay, you sell as much as you can, we'll supply it.
That's correct.
And instead of having infrastructure needs like pipes, you basically, just rented it to move your gas through those.
Well, we ended up buying the gas from them. We know we couldn't rent it because we also owned as I said, we bought transport on those pipelines, so we had to take the title of the natural gas.
Right.
So we bought the gas. And then we sold it.
Right.
No.
But you didn't have to have the pipelines
No.
because that was,
Yes.
Someone else is
doing that. Correct.
Someone else is doing it, and then all of a sudden you're going, well, we need to start scaling up the company as well, right?
That's correct. We went from within a 2-year period, probably 50 employees to over 300.
Wow. Were most of them located in Gainesville?
Almost all of them. We had, of all the employees, we had a Georgia office. Probably about 50 were there, but everyone else was in Gainesville.
So how did you learn about scaling up the business and how to hire all these people and
the hard way.
Make sure you hired the right people? Talk about that.
Well, sometimes, I call it the exigency of the moment. Sometimes you can't hire the right people when you're growing that fast. So when we stopped growing as fast as we were, we would, obviously if the people weren't working out, we would hire folks at that time that would fill the role. But sometimes you just need people in the seats when you're growing that fast. Just to answer the phones, right? It's like there's all sorts of stuff going on. So it's crazy. We had a philosophy of bend but not break.
So, so you really, there's an adage, hire slow, fire fast. You were in a situation where you had to hire fast.
That's correct.
Okay.
And when you're hiring that many people, and some other companies that have grown that quickly have that same problem. Sometimes you just have to hire. If they've got the minimum qualifications, you do it. And then sort it out later when your growth is steadied off. And we were really good at doing that, by the way. Once our growth steadied out, we were really good at getting the culture within the company.
Who were some of your mentors and influencers as far as teaching you business systems?
I guess the biggest one was my business partner, Rich, because we would just talk through everything. Another teacher, oddly enough, was some of the places I'd worked before. And quite frankly, it was like Rich and I would say, okay, we won't do it that way. That's not the right way to do it.
Well,
so sometimes it taught you the way not to do things. And then, but I think it was the relationship with Rich that sort of helped us get through. We made a lot of mistakes, but we usually didn't make the same mistake. So if you can do that, then you learn and you keep going.
Yeah, I know that trying to create a great culture is important to you.
Yes.
How did you go about trying to, what are some of the things you did to create a great culture for Infinite Energy?
Well, towards the end, we would have monthly town halls. But more importantly, we had mentorship programs from all the executives. Most of the executives would mentor up to 4 or 5 people every year for a whole year. So that helps the culture go downwards. The other thing we would do is make sure when we were interviewing, we sent out a culture statement to everybody that interviewed. And we would always ask them things about that culture statement and what they identified with or why they felt it was important. And then there was also, in our human resources, we did a lot of scenario questions that could go either way, but usually, different companies have different cultures. So if you use scenario questions, you can get the answers that you're wanting for your company. And maybe it's a different answer for another company. So that's it.
Well, it's interesting because in Meldon Law, we're always trying to focus in on team culture. We feel that culture is even more important than talent.
Yes, it is.
Which is contrary to what a lot of people think. People think, oh, just hire a bunch of really, really smart people and throw them into one office and you're going to succeed. And I don't think what we've learned is you want to hire for culture first.
You're exactly right. In fact, a very talented person can destroy a company. Seriously, if they don't have the right values. See, our philosophy was values the same, personalities different.
Okay, so that you can bring in lots of different personalities. However, you do want to have the same values. We have core values at Meldon Law, okay? Compassion, right?
Yep.
It's CARES. Compassion, accountability, responsibility, excellence, and success driven.
Very good. Very good. Yes. We had very similar values. We also liked, we had one for diversity also, because we wanted folks from different backgrounds of all sorts, because we felt that made us stronger, because everyone's experiences are different. Right? And you bring those experiences, you learn from them, and then you can make a stronger company. So that was one of our keys. Another one was we had a decision tree. So it was always your own moral values first, company second, your department third, and yourself last. But oddly enough, if you followed that, you're actually helping the company. You're the one that's going to get promoted, right? If you hold true to your values, you're going to get promoted in the long run. So it really worked out for us.
It's interesting. One of the challenges we give to team members at Meldon Law now is, we call it 131. If you identify an issue or a problem, okay, write that down. Then come up with 3 possible solutions, and then tell us which one of those 3 solutions you like the best.
There you go.
And then you bring it to the chief operational officer, and we start a dialogue regarding that. How did you deal with folks within the organization that had ideas that they thought would work better than the current solution?
Well, here's what we did. We did an electronic employee suggestion box, and the idea was, if you put something in there and you put your name on it, we could do it. You could do it anonymously too. That you would get a response from an executive within 2 days. Whether that idea was already being worked on, whether it was a great idea, but maybe we need to not implement it just yet because we got these priorities, or, hey, that's a great idea, we're going to go ahead and do it. And it's amazing when you answer somebody's idea, how many more ideas you get, because it doesn't go into the proverbial black box, so to speak.
Now, did who got to see the ideas?
All the executives got them.
Okay.
So every executive got it, and one executive would say, I'll take this one, because if it was in their area, they would take it.
So that helped you grow the culture, as well as the fact that you were creating a better company, a better run company.
That's correct. We became extremely innovative because of that. Amazing ideas came through. And one of the things I'm most proud of is all the spin-off companies that came from Infinite Energy that have hired highly successful. One of them you probably know is the Selling Factory. They're here local. Brad Gamble was our VP of Sales and Marketing. So we brought him out of college. Jesse Eisner started a trading company. He was our director of trading, but once again, we took him out of college and brought him up. He was with our company for, I think, somewhere around 15 years. Now his company is probably bigger than what we were as far as what he does. So, and he's got like 40 or 50 people. I'm not saying bigger in people, but bigger in volume. He's doing amazing things. There's just so many spin-off companies that have come. That's just a few. I could probably count at least 10 that came from Infinite. So that's one of the things I'm most proud of.
Now, back in the day, was everybody working at Infinite Energy mostly in one building?
Well, when we went to the Bidell building, it was me and Rich in an 800 square foot space. So it was one room in a building. Well, we had 3 rooms. We had one for the front person, and then a little conference room. And we really splurged and got a 2-stand conference table and 2 stands.
And where'd you wind up?
Where did we wind up? We ended up buying a building out on 24th Street. It was like 8,000 square feet, and we thought that was all the room we were ever going to need. And the bottom floor was, there's 2 floors. The bottom floor was rented out, and we took the top. That's when we first went into Georgia. And then we just started growing, and we built 3 more buildings on that, and then we tore the 8,000 square foot one and made a 35,000 square foot one there. That's where the Galen Nursing is renting now. But anyways, so at the end we had about, I think, 82,000 square feet.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
Well, let's turn our attention to some of the new ideas.
Certainly.
PathPoint Energy and PathPoint Labs. Let's talk about it. How are you changing the energy industry again?
Well, PathPoint Energy, that one is, once again, sort of like Infinite Energy. They're selling wholesale natural gas. Our office is in Houston, and we're already profitable. So I'm really happy about that. We started our first trade in March, so I'm really happy about that.
You weren't ready to hang up your spurs just yet.
Not yet, and I like the way you spurred us on, so to speak.
Yeah, we're at Steve Spurrier's gridiron.
That's right, that's right.
But I'm like you, I have fun doing what I do.
Yep.
And I don't want to necessarily just, retire just to retire, because then what would I do?
Yeah, exactly. You're just, I've got all these ideas and want to see them happen. So that company's going strong already. But the other company, the labs part, is, remember I told you we're going through pipelines. It's a logistical problem. And my degree was in statistics. And I've hired a good team that's working on those problems that can help perhaps get natural gas from point A to point B more efficiently. If that happens, great. We'll change the industry again. But secondly, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring it up, was...
so in other words, ideas, in the traditionally it just went through big pipes?
It does, but usually it's all human brain power. So we're looking at maybe enhancing that a bit.
Well, so PathPoint Energy and PathPoint Labs. I'm glad to hear that you're using your talent and your vision to create some new businesses. You help people, right?
Yes, we do.
You're bringing them energy at a lower cost. You're creating important jobs so people support their families.
That's correct.
And it keeps Darin Cook from going crazy, sitting home.
My wife would probably kill me if she says, when you retire when you're 85, it's like, that's what she says.
I can tell her that you'll be a much happier person when you keep working and doing things.
Yes, and I think that's what life's all about. It's a sense, you've got to have a sense of purpose, and I think that's the other thing we talked about with culture. One of our thing as culture is everyone knew their part of the whole. We always had a big vision, but everyone knew their part of the vision. And when people feel that they are contributing, they want to make something cool themselves. So that's the key to us, is if they have a purpose